Welcome to Aneesh Thing. On today's episode, I got Sahil back on the podcast. We spoke about the new Pixel launches, so the Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro. It's been 4 years since a Pixel flagship device came to India. So we talk about first impressions. We just got the devices today morning, and by the time you hear this, we would have played around a lot more with it, and they look like really good devices for Android users. So let the conversation begin. Good to have you back on the podcast, and this time in the studio.
Thank
not
you.
over Zoom.
Yeah, first time being in a podcast studio.
Wearing a black t-shirt. Great.
Always.
So you've daily driven Pixel since Pixel 1, right? How many years has that been?
Pixel 1 came out in 2016. I have been using stock Android phones way before that when the Pixel line was non-existent and they used to have an Nexus line, and some devices were the Play Edition devices, which were stock Android. I started using the stock Android devices in 2010 or 2011 whenever the Nexus 3 came out. So Nexus 3, Nexus 5, Nexus 6P, then Pixel 1, 2, 3, 3A, 4A, 6A, 7 Pro. Yeah.
And the flagship 7 Pro, the Pro model has come to India after 4 years.
Yeah, I think the last Pro model, the flagship model that they launched was the 3XL.
3XL.
Yeah, 3XL was 2018.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. I really like the Pixel 2 still. I still have it. And the haptic motor on this really reminds me of the
So Pixel 2 was the one when we'd gone to the Google launch in Delhi and they had those ballerinas at the launch.
Yes, I think so.
I still remember the low light pictures of that phone. Incredible.
Yeah, that is what blew everybody's mind at that point in time, right? And then since then the Pixel line is known for its night photography and its camera prowess, basically.
So to me, as a hardcore Apple user, I think Pixel 2 was the phone that really did it. Again, because of the camera prowess.
Yeah, you remember the times when you used to have battles about Apple and Android?
Yeah. Those days are gone. Yeah. Okay, so a bunch of things to talk about since Pixel 7's available in India now. And we are recording this under embargo. This should go out live tomorrow. Let's talk about the keynote first before we get into the products. To me, it was hilarious, and I think everyone's spoken about this, how Google started with the dig ad saying we had car crash since 3 years or something.
I think it's become a sort of a pattern over the past few years, right? Apple takes a dig at Android. Android OEMs take a dig at Apple at every time they do something. I think it started with the headphone jack being removed. Yeah. Google came on stage and said, hey, we still have a headphone jack. Very next year it was gone. Samsung took a dig at Apple saying you remove the power brick. Then very next year it was gone. I think everybody's then followed suit with all of these things that kind of been done by Apple in some cases and kind of been done by Android in some cases.
Yeah, and they basically started the keynote by saying, okay, you know what, crash detection's been there since so long. This has been there since so long. We're so happy when people take our innovations.
Yeah.
And then after a few minutes, they're like, okay, now there's face unlock, there's cinematic blur.
If Pixel actually had face unlock in the Pixel 4. It uses that radar feature. That
never came to India.
Yeah, that is why it didn't come to India, because it used that band of frequency was reserved for the military in India, so they never got licenses to use it. But some form of face unlock has been there, but obviously it's not been as great as what Apple did, and unfortunately the pandemic kind of got Apple to also rethink that idea, because wearing masks and things made it slightly difficult.
But one good thing in the new Pixel 7 devices is that it's got both. It's got face unlock and a fingerprint
It takes a little getting used to, because you've not had face unlock for so long, and suddenly I look up my phone and it's unlocked where I'm expecting to use the biometric unlock or the pin, and suddenly you see, hey, there's an unlock icon, so that it works.
Well, I'm used to that though.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the pricing. So India pricing is 59,999 for the Pixel 7 and 84,999 for the Pro, and I guess both of these are 128 GB standard variants.
Yeah. I think there are some pretty cool launch offers going on when you pre-book it. I think it was up till tomorrow or maybe till Diwali or something like that. You get an exchange bonus, extra exchange bonus if you have a Pixel device, and there are some card offers. So effectively, the Pixel 7 Pro works out to 70,000 instead of 84.
Pretty
it's
cool.
Not a bad deal to have.
Yeah, considering Apple Pro's India pricing.
Yeah, and also, the OnePluses of the world, where their 10 Pros or 10 Pro T, whatever is their flagship currently, is also in the 60K range. I think this is a pretty good bang for its buck.
I was checking Flipkart today and it wasn't even showing pre-orders. It was
Yeah,
just
I think
saying
it's been sold out since the day they announced
which is
it.
so cool
Yeah.
for Pixel.
And there are also some news stories floating around that Google has actually doubled their orders for the Pixel
I saw
devices,
that,
the 7
yeah.
devices, because they are really expecting
Yeah.
one of their highest sales on their devices so far.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
It's been a journey to get, like what we said, 4 years for a flagship,
Yeah.
Pixel flagship to come back. Okay, gonna get into some features straight away. I think let's just start off with the cameras. I think that is going to be a very big feature of this phone.
I think it's fantastic. So I have never had a telephoto. I've not used a telephoto in a phone, and I've taken some pictures, and it's just mind blowing how further it can zoom into, and what they spoke about in the keynote, where they did like the relayering of the array and all of that to make pictures sharper and crisper even at 30x and 20x zoom. It really shows when you check out some of the pictures.
So I want to actually break that up. So the regular 7 has 2 cameras.
Yeah, the ultra wide and the standard.
And the standard. The standard is a 50 megapixel
Correct.
camera, which outputs a 12 megapixel image. Same as what Apple's doing in the 14 series as well. A high resolution sensor, but it uses bigger pixels to combine pixels
I guess
into all of that.
we're no longer printing photos, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's checking them out on screen.
But what the Pro has done, and I think better than what Apple has done, is that they've added a 48 megapixel camera even to the Tele.
Correct.
So basically, instead of using the full sensor, if you do that half zoom in, you get a 10x proper zoom, not a digital zoom or anything.
It's almost like an optical zoom.
That is pretty cool.
And the slider is pretty smooth, right? When you change the zoom resolution.
That was really cool. I tried that today.
Yeah, it doesn't feel jerky, or it doesn't snap as
so
usually
that
does.
To me was surprisingly good. Of course, on the audio channel we can't put this, but on YouTube I think we'll put that up. It's quite crazy to go from 0.6x to
0.6x to 30x
to 30x.
Yeah.
But I'm good with the 10x bit as long as it's still optical and not getting the digital zoom
the
bit.
S22 Ultra used to do like a crazy zoom, and I don't know what Xiaomi is planning to do with that 200 megapixel camera sensor now. So that's going to be, it's exciting time for cameras. In fact, Sony released a report recently saying that phone cameras will get better than DSLR cameras by 2024.
Okay. That is
interesting.
So coming back to the camera, I played around with it quite a bit today morning before the recording. Portrait mode looks fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't tried the portrait yet. I checked out the selfie camera though.
Yeah.
Selfie camera is wide angle. Do you remember the Pixel 3 XL had 2 selfie cameras?
Yeah, that 2 selfie cameras.
One standard and one ultra wide.
Yeah.
This kind of does great, especially for me, because whenever I'm using the selfie camera, I'm using it for group shots.
Yeah.
Right? So an ultra wide really, really helps.
Ultra wide I didn't play around much with, but it's wider.
Yeah, it is wider than
looks
before.
good. I don't know if it has autofocus or not. I think that
also our point of reference on flagships is slightly old, because we didn't get the 6 or the 4 Pros in India, the flagships in India. So our comparison, and at least my comparison.
That's your comparison. For me, every flagship comparison is my now iPhone 14 Pro.
No, my flagship comparison is the 3 XL.
That's a very old comparison.
Yeah, it's a very old comparison. But till even in the A series, they're still using that sensor, which is a pretty good sensor, and pictures turn out absolutely fine.
So I think the main sensor on the 7 is the same as the one from the 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So anyways, the cameras are massively improved. We'll be posting a lot of stuff on our social media, so definitely check that out. There's macro, same as what Apple has done, good implementation of the macro mode. And one thing, they actually put a lot of effort on the keynote, talking about the skin tone, saying that they worked a lot on getting darker skin tones right.
Are they calling it True Tone, or is Apple calling it True Tone? Somebody is calling it True Tone.
True Tone is a different Apple thing.
No? Okay.
No, it's not this. There's cinematic blur, so this is again one of those things. After accusing Apple of taking all their stuff, they said they've introduced cinematic blur.
I think it's a cycle. Everybody gets into this.
And but overall the camera just looks great. For me, Pixel has, like, even the 6S outperformed the 13 Pro camera multiple times?
Yeah, there are times when, so my wife Sonika, she uses an iPhone 13 Pro, and there are times when in slightly dodgy light, she always prefers me clicking a picture with the Pixel, whichever
Yeah.
Pixel it may be. So camera has always been super reliable, and it's just kind of gotten a shade better with the 7 Pro.
Yeah. What about overall build quality?
I really like the build quality. I was not expecting this phone to be this light as compared to other flagships. It's not, I mean, when you look at the size of the phone in your hand, and I've not used a big phone in a while, I was expecting it to be really heavy, but it's not really that heavy, right? So, plus the seamless unibody on the back, the single piece of metal that they've used is it's pretty cool. I really like it. People are saying that the visor should have been matte versus glossy. What
Yeah,
are
the
your
whole
thoughts?
phone should have been matte.
Do you remember the matte phones I think the first
4.
matte phone I had was the Nexus 5. Nexus 4 with a glass back.
But the
with a
Pixel 4 was matte. Which one was that?
Pixel
Nice
4 was
one?
matte,
Yeah,
yes.
that was really nice.
Yeah.
But build quality looks great. The display looks good. This goes up to 1500 nits
I
of
am
peak
just
brightness.
not a little too happy about curved displays. That's my only gripe.
Yeah,
Need some time getting used to it.
a little Samsung-y. A couple of other things I was playing around that I found. There's two-way wireless charging on the phone.
Oh, I haven't tried it. Did
For
you
whatever
try it
it's
with the
worth.
pods? To charge the
No,
pods?
I also want to talk about the pods in some time. But yeah, there's two ways wireless charging, and battery life I'm pretty confident of.
I have not had battery life issues with the Pixel
Ever.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming that this will be as great.
A couple of other things. I'm just going through my notes. On the camera bit, they've also spoken about a couple of more things. One is the eraser, which came on the earlier Pixel devices
Which came
also.
on the 6, yeah. It was
And-
a Pixel 6 and 6 Pro exclusive for a while. Then they did a feature drop, and it came to the 4A and other, basically after the 4. What they've done this time is the unblur.
Yeah.
I think unblur is pretty cool. It's still a 7 and 7 Pro exclusive, but I think by December or whenever I think the next feature drop for Pixel is December. So the feature drop basically is that every quarter or every 6 months they release a bunch of new features on a new flagship phone to other devices in the line, right? Earlier generation devices. So I think that the unblur is going to not remain an exclusive for a long time. The next feature drop is slated for December. If it doesn't come in the December, the one after that, it will definitely come. And the beauty of it is that it can work on any sort of photo.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be clicked
I was trying.
on the phone.
I was trying that out
Yeah.
today.
Was it
It's pretty alright. I think it's still a fringe feature. It's not going to be something you use every day.
But if you see the Google Photos app has a companion app called Photo Scan,
Yeah.
where you can just place a normal printed out photo and convert it digital. I think for photos like that, it'll really be
Yeah.
helpful to unblur it and have it in your library for memory's sake.
So there are two features. There's unblur and eraser that show up automatically. There's no manual way to
Correct.
implement them.
Correct.
But eraser shows up as an option when you have other objects or people in the picture.
Correct.
Again, I'll put this up on the YouTube video where I tried this in Vietnam with just removing people from a landscape shot of a cathedral. Works really surprisingly well.
Yeah.
And unblur also, I'll put up some stuff. Unblur for me, I don't know what the use case is going to be, but eraser is pretty cool.
But Magic Eraser comes up in Google Photos on all your photos. When you go to
Yeah.
tools.
So again, I think this unblur will also come to Google Photos at some
I think
point.
it'll need to detect that it's a blurry photo. If
Yeah.
it thinks that it's a pretty cool photo, a pretty okay photo, it won't really give you that option to unblur it.
A couple of other things after using this phone for literally like 4-5 hours right now. Haptic motor seems nice.
Haptic motor is really nice as compared to what I was using, the 6A. Haptic motor is really good. Reminds me of the Pixel 2, like I said earlier. It's not very. I don't know how to put it. It's not punchy. It's subtle, yet it gives you the feedback that it's a comfortable sort of a thing. Some phones have a really aggressive haptic motor where it's just like it pinches you while you're typing or using the phone, but this is very subtle yet gives you that nice feedback.
Also must tell you, you laugh at this as a Android person, but iPhones just got haptic keyboards.
Yeah, so I've been told on iOS 16.
It's damn nice. Always on display implementation, I think, on the way Android's doing it, Google's doing it on Android 13, I think is really, really better than what iPhone's done right now.
Really?
Yeah. So this is the always on display.
I thought that iOS 16 users were really excited about always
This
on
is
display
always
because you
on.
can have your wallpapers change.
No,
and,
this
home
is the
screens
always
and-
on.
Okay.
You can see it. So it's the same screen dimmed out, but whereas Pixel just gives you less information. This seems like the phone is on.
Yeah, correct. So the Android always on display is just icons, right? And a clock.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Like I can see your wallpaper right now.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Correct.
I mean, that's not the.
Like
idea
I
of-
always think that the phone is on, and this
Or-
is feedback that a lot of people have had. Even the episode I did on iPhones,
Right.
Nishant was
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about that. But I think overall Android 13 also on this phone looks pretty good.
I think the customizations that come with
Yeah.
Android 13, especially the color pickers for your wallpaper,
Yeah.
and setting the entire phone's theme according to what wallpaper you're using, or having an option. So when I was using the Android 12, it had only 4 color options to choose from in the color picker. Now it's gone 16, and also combination. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility. There was a time when I had briefly used a OnePlus. I think in 2017 or 18, and it kind of in a few months had to go to a service center, and then I was like, I'll go back to my 6P. That is when Oxygen OS was a big thing, and the hype around OnePlus was flagship killer.
Yeah.
And they used to have these Cyanogen, because it was based on CyanogenMod, they used to have a lot of these customization features which stock Android did not have, right from being able to choose icon packs and color themes and stuff like that. But Android 13, stock Android 13 has come up with it, and I think they've done a pretty good job at it, and you don't need additional apps to customize your phone.
You
the
can
way you
literally pick your colors of accents of buttons and
Correct,
stuff.
correct.
And there's even that feature's in beta, but it can also change the color of your app icons.
like. Yes.
That was pretty cool.
I,
Doesn't work with everything. Like I
Yeah,
tried it.
they-
Instagram didn't work.
yeah,
but
they
most
need
of the
to. They
others-
need to add more, apps to their development thing, or maybe developers need to get into themed icons for their apps. A lot of people are doing it, and then subsequently the color picks up according to the accent color that you've chosen.
So from my point of view, these two devices are a solid upgrade. If you have an older Pixel device, for sure, like
Any
someone
older
like you.
Pixel device, it's an upgrade.
Yeah, but I think as an Android, very, very, very solid option, and great that it's.
What
already
I'm really
selling out.
happy about also is coming from the 6A, the fingerprint scanner is really much better than the 6A. I had a tough time with the 6A fingerprint scanner, and there were a lot of issues that everybody had reported, that phones were getting unlocked with other people's thumbprints and stuff. Yeah, it was quite a stir that it had caused. They fixed it with the software update. It got better, but this right out of the box is a fantastic fingerprint scanner. And for me, fingerprint scanner doesn't need to be like the fastest in the world, those ultrasonic and all of those things, but it just should recognize your fingerprint at least 98% of the times, if not more.
And
I
the
haven't tried it with dirty hands yet, but it'll happen in due course of time.
And just to close the phone conversation, the other bigger feature of this is the Tensor 2 chip, right?
Yes.
So that gives
It
it.
doesn't get as hot as the 6A did with the Tensor 1. And usually phones tend to get hot when you set them up right off the box. My 6A got really, really hot when I was using it, but this one was not. It pretty much handled all the transfer data, which took a good half an hour, 40 minutes, and then multiple apps in the background running while I was setting up and signing into all the apps that I use. So I think what they've also done is that they've changed the internals of the phone in terms of thermals and the whole layout of the phone at the back end, which gives it better heat management. And anyways, the Tensor 2 really seems snappy right out of the box. I think 8 GB RAM should be plenty for running this phone without any hitches.
So just to give for people who may not know, so Tensor is Google's chip, like how Apple does their chips.
Google SoC.
does SoC. So this is the second generation, supposed to be faster, supposed to be more power efficient.
G2, yes.
And I think these are also chips they'll be using in their data centers for photos,
Correct.
for the Photos app.
Correct.
Hence, those features will come on
Even
to
the Pixel tablet,
apps.
upcoming Pixel tablet, which is slated to launch in 2023, is going to be using the Tensor chip.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the tablet next. But yeah, I think on the phone devices, they're great. We'll know how they pan out in the next week or two.
I have a question. Why do you think a Pixel device is better than... I have some thoughts on it. Why do you think a Pixel device is better than the other Android devices out in the market?
Just UI. Stock UI.
Yeah, I think that is the single focus answer. Have you used a Samsung phone?
I cannot touch a Samsung. We're never going to get Samsung as a sponsor now, but I can't do it.
I, as you know, I am the chief technology officer at home, and anybody has a problem with their devices or anything, they come to me and help fix it. My parents used to have a Samsung phone. Your dad has a Samsung phone, and whenever I have to do anything on a Samsung phone, there is just duplication of so many apps within the OS, and it just seems so chaotic, right? It's not as streamlined or as used to you are with a clean stock UI.
For me, as a person who's pretty much locked into the Apple garden or the ecosystem, to me, Pixel makes sense purely from the UI and the workings of it. But if I look at a Samsung, just cannot think of it. Even a OnePlus OS and stuff.
Till the time it was, I think till OnePlus 6 it was fine. I think after that it started going downhill. Kalpe is doing nothing one now. I have not used the device, but it again claims to be stock Android, as close to stock as possible. So yeah, I mean, also the A series of devices that Google has launched over the last few years, I think they have been great value for money. People tend to compare them with the Chinese competition of what's available in the market at the same price point or lesser price point what's available. But I just think the longevity of some of these stock UI devices is far better, and updates.
How many years of updates for these?
I think 5 years of updates now. There were times when we used to get only 2 years of updates, and it was 2 years of updates and a few extended security patches. But now it's gone to 5 years of updates, and I think that's pretty good. It's a good start. Apple obviously has been the pioneer in giving updates for their iOS devices, but I just think that from an Apple perspective, they control the ecosystem. With Android, it's a far larger ecosystem with many more manufacturers, many more OEMs who put on their skins and all of that. So it becomes a little tricky. But having their own hardware now, they can really push longer updates with longer security patches.
Yeah, again, and that is what cements Pixel for me if I have to use an Android device, their own SoC.
Correct.
So that gives them better control on battery life, performance, everything, right? And security patches and just the camera power.
Yeah, camera is like hands down. I think if you want a camera phone, it has to be a Pixel. I really don't know. I mean, I honestly have not used too many of them, but whenever I've seen any comparisons happening, also from a camera perspective, Pixel wins hands down.
I've done a comparison of my 6A with the 13 Pro. I think in 6 tests, only one people preferred the iPhone.
Yeah.
Everything else was
I
in
remember
favor of
the
6A.
Instagram polls that you did with posting 2 shots of the same.
And my Instagram, all my Vietnam pictures are 6A.
Has Apple fixed the glass outline on portrait shots? Does it still happen?
It has.
It has?
Yeah, that's become much better. Okay. In the current scheme of things, 6A is still a good phone to get?
100%. I've been using it for the past few months as my daily driver. Coming from the 4A, it's definitely a jump, and it just works. It's just a no nonsense.
And you got some good deals on it as well, right?
Yeah, I had the 4A which I exchanged. The price on the 6A was some 44,000. I exchanged my 4A for it with an extra bonus because it was a Pixel device, and I got a cashback on one of the credit cards. So effectively, I got the 6A for 23,000.
Damn cool. All right, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the other 3 launches actually, from the Pixel Keynote.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. I hope you guys are checking out Has It Aged Well on the IVM Pop feed, what used to be IVM Likes. I know it's complicated, but it's well worth your time. This week, Abbas and Urchita revisit Sanjay Pansali's 2002 offering Devdas. Joining them for this conversation is die-hard SRK fan Pulkit Kochar. On Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav discovers the connection between the iconic rock band Led Zeppelin, the children's classic Chronicles of Narnia, and Harry Potter. On This Round Is On Me, Gauri talks to Chef Thomas Zacharias, founder of the Locavore. He shares his views about greenwashing, plant-based meats, and the concept of sustainability. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita discuss Tesla's new Optimus robot, Trevor Noah quitting The Daily Show, and a whole lot more. And on Varta Lab's storytelling session, Akash and Naveen's conversation takes a political turn as they are joined by friend and fellow stand-up comic Puneet Pania. Guys, go to our website, ivmpodcast.com. You can check out the merch store, also links to all of our social media stuff, which is at IVM Podcast. Also, do check out our YouTube channels. We have a number of channels with many of your favorite shows available as full video podcasts. Finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Volvo XC40 Recharge, Bumble, Heads Up for Tails, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Welcome back to a niche thing. I'm with Sahil. We're discussing all the new Pixel launches. Now, two new things they launched was the Pixel Watch and the tablet. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the Buds Pro.
Yeah, I have been using the Pixel Buds A series for a while. The pros take them to another level because of the noise cancellation feature in it. I was actually looking for getting a new set of active noise cancellation buds, and these just do the job as I want them.
These have been good. I tried them quite a bit. I've had them for a couple of months now. Traveled with them. I've been on those motorcycle taxis in Vietnam with them. Pretty good. They work pretty well with the iPhone as well. And it has that multi-point thing, so connects to two devices, automatically switches.
I've just got them this morning, so I haven't had the chance to try the multi-point thing. But one of my criterias for a earbud is multi-point. So I use the Jabra 75Ts because they do multi-point, especially between the phone and the laptop or between the phone and my tablet while I'm working. It just makes things so much easier.
The only one I know who uses a Jabra. It's like 10 years old.
Yeah, because Samsung used to have a great, or they still do have a great pair of TWS ANCs, but they don't have multi-point. I have to disconnect and reconnect every time. So the Jabras really work. In fact, the Jabra 7 Active are really good, the new ones that they've got. But yeah, coming back to the Buds Pro, I think the Buds Pro.
And I think there were just 2 or 3 options in this whole thing. AirPods Pro, then the Sony ones.
Yeah, the
and
XM4s,
now this. Pretty easy to recommend.
Yeah, and they've changed the design over the A series, so it's a really comfortable fit.
Yeah,
and the seal is great. I tend to watch a lot of videos while I'm in the car when I'm going for meetings or whatever, and ANC really works because of the traffic noise and all of that. So yeah, I think these are perfect. And the form factor is exactly the same. I took a picture this morning of both my A series and the Pro. The case size is the same. It's only the bud shape is different, and the buds look slightly smaller than the A series. But yeah, I think it's
they're pretty good. I like the fit as well. They're a little discreet, quite nice. The other two things, I don't know if these products are going to come to India, but the Pixel Watch and the Tab. The tablet, I think that feature of it docking magnetically, that was cool.
Remember, it reminds me of the Google Home, what was it called? The Nest Home.
Yeah, with the screen.
The Nest Home with the screen. My son is a big fan because he wants to just tell Google to keep playing music all the time. And off late, he's discovered asking questions to Google. So all day, every day. In fact, I have 3 Google Assistants, one in the bedroom, one in his room, and one in the living room. So he has the freedom to ask questions to any Google device he likes. In fact, when he goes to his grandmother's house, there's a Google Assistant there. So he keeps, asking. And that docking feature, have you realized that usually for a tablet, in the current times, a tablet is like is just floating around
It's
the
just
house.
always
right?
floating around.
Yeah, you don't really,
Yeah.
unless you're actually using it, you don't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
right? With that docking feature, I think it just makes so much sense
Yeah.
to make it a family tablet.
Even
Like
from a
whoever
charging
needs it.
standpoint,
Yeah.
all that standpoint.
Whoever
yeah.
needs it can just pick it up off the dock. Otherwise, it's just your assistant to do things. I have a little bit of automation at home, so I just keep telling Google to switch on lights or switch off lights or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool form factor to have.
I'm surprised how this dock has not happened earlier, and I think Pixel is going by that sort of a way and not a very hardcore, graphic intensive work sort of a
Yeah, I
tab.
don't think it's going to be like an iPad Pro
Yeah,
or a S8 Ultra
But like
sort of a
that
thing.
easy device at home that's just
Yeah.
there. But they've not given a timeline on this.
It's
It'll come
coming.
at some
I
point.
think it's coming in 2023. They don't know when. I mean, they've not announced it
Yeah.
when. I don't think it's going to come to India.
I love how Pixel leaks their own stuff every time.
I think it's fantastic,
Yeah.
right? Just kill all the speculation. Like, here's the device. It's coming in this fall. That's it,
Yeah.
right? No more phones being left behind in a bar, or In fact, I follow quite a few subreddits on the Pixel. The Pixel Watch actually got left behind at the bar this time around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and people took photos of it, and there was a big AMA that happened on Reddit about how are the bezels. The thing was that it was only the watch, no strap and no charger. It seemed like a test device, so a lot of speculation happened around it. Personally, as a Android smartwatch user, I use the Samsung watch. It's a little too small for my liking.
That
the
is
size.
small.
Yeah, it's a 41 mm. I use a 46 mm watch, so it's a little small. But if they evolve it's going to be great. In fact, what they did recently, I had the LG G Watch back in 2016 or 17, or probably before that. It was one of the earlier generation of Android Wear, and they have now partnered with Samsung to launch the latest version of Android Wear. Samsung used to have Tizen OS, which was their OS for other devices, non-phone devices, and I was using the Galaxy Watch Classic before this, which was a Tizen based OS, and now I use the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4, which is Android Wear. It's just so much nicer than what I've had experience with multi-generation of Android watches, as well as Samsung's own OS on watches. And if Pixel Watch does what it's claimed to do, we haven't seen it in our hands yet, but I think it's going to be great because that OS is really great. Even from a battery life standpoint, the Android Wear OS is pretty stable and good. It doesn't eat up into too much of battery.
To me, it seemed like it's more that Fitbit made a watch.
Yeah, of
which
course.
I like though.
Because they acquired Fitbit.
Yeah. So that's what. To me, this is more of
more
the watch
health-centric.
coming from that angle, which I prefer to
Fitness-centric.
the smart angle.
Hmm.
I don't want another notification on the watch.
I like notifications
I know,
on my watch.
I've seen
I
that.
don't need to pick up my phone too many
Yeah.
times.
But I think I like the design. In fact,
Design is great.
there's this one watch face they have that's like those Resonance watches. Looks pretty cool. We'll check those out when they come. Any last notes?
No, I think it's going to take some more time to dive into the phone completely. It's been only a few hours, and first impressions are really great.
Yeah.
And I think it's only going to get better with, if there are any bugs or whatever, will get sorted out in the next security patch or OS update. I don't think there is an OS update planned till next year now, because we are already in October. So Android 14 or 13L, whatever it may be, will come sometime next year. It's only going to be Pixel feature drops or security and stability updates that are going to happen. But so far, everything out of the box is pretty cool.
What's your social media handle?
It's SAHIL_Jatana, JATANA on Instagram and Twitter.
Cool. So by the time this episode goes live, I think we would have already started posting of the pictures from these devices. So yeah, check it.
I'm taking my Pixel on a trip to Singapore. So it's going to be fun to play around there and get some shots from there.
I will, as usual, do a lot of comparisons with the iPhone devices. And also I'm excited about the zoom. I think that's going to be a very, very cool feature.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, Sahil. Thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you for
I will
having
see you
me.
at the
Thank
Swami office very soon.
Thank you.